the Steve Malzberg Show, as we kick off yet another week of, I'll tell you, the news just doesn't stop. The government shutdown, quote unquote, continues. Of course, 85 to 90% of the government is working. We also had two raids that took place over the weekend. One was a successful U.S. military venture in Libya, and one was a not so successful raid by the U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6 in Somalia. And in just a few moments, we're going to be talking to a former Navy SEAL himself, former governor of the state of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, will be joining us. He's also the author of a brand new book, They Killed Our President. It's a book about, of course, the shooting and killing and assassination of JFK 50 years ago. And momentarily, we do hope to be talking to him. We're also going to be joined by Senator Rick Santorum later in this hour. And later on, a doctor, an orthodontist from Florida, who is suing the federal government to enforce all of Obamacare. And it's a very unique situation because he wants the employer mandate upheld. He wants it to start on time. He doesn't believe that Obama has the constitutional right to pick and choose who gets to get a buy and who gets to get some time to consider. And in other words, the individual has to sign up and be under the individual mandate by next January 1st. He wants the employer mandate, that 1-year exemption, the 1-year delay that Obama instituted. He wants it to go bye-bye. And if he wins his case, he, as an employer of 70 full-time people, will have to pay more money. So it's kind of bizarre. Is the governor ready yet? You could tell Jen that to just give him the phone because it's kind of crazy. Okay. Anyway, so a lot of things to talk about the governor with, in addition to the fact that he has talked about, again, not ruling out the possibility that he might run for president. I think 4 years ago or before 2012, somewhere around 2010, that came up. Joining us now is a man who I have sat across in the studio from a couple of times or 3 times in the past for past books. We welcome in Governor Jesse Ventura. Hello, sir.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good.
I'm hanging in there okay.
Good. Well, I'm sorry you're not here. I remember at WOR once you looked very angry at me, and I said, are you going to jump across and hit me? But that didn't happen. But welcome to the show. Good luck with the book. Tell us a little bit about the book. Of course, They Killed Our President.
Well, they killed our president, 63 reasons to believe there was a conspiracy to assassinate JFK, and I did it for selfish reasons. I wanted to write this book because I've been studying the Kennedy assassination since about 1985 really hard, and I wanted to officially go on the record so that for whatever it's worth 100 years from now, they'll know that the 38th governor of Minnesota did not believe the Warren Commission and did not believe that Lee Harvey Oswald did it.
All right, and I know you were asked who did it. But that's a question that you don't answer in the book. You don't say here's who did it, correct?
Well, it's very difficult to say who did it. We will give you a scenario of multiple entities who very well could have did it. But the one thing I can say unequivocally, I can tell you who didn't do it, Lee Harvey Oswald. And
so he was just a convenient scapegoat or a pre-planned scapegoat?
Yeah, he's who he said he was. So if you recall, when they arrested him, he didn't say, I'm innocent. He said some very peculiar words. He said, I'm just a patsy. And that's certainly what he was. Lee Oswald was actually a government agent who earlier had been involved in a false defector program, and all this has been proven when he defected to the Soviet Union. It was an intelligence thing. We believe he worked for the Office of Naval Intelligence when he came out of the Marine Corps because, of course, they gave him Russian language training, and they certainly don't do that to an infantryman. You know, you got to be involved in some type of intelligence work to get the military to send you to a language school like that. And so he definitely was a low-level intelligence agent who was set up to take the fall.
And if you had to, Governor, if you had to say, you know, if you were forced to say, this is who I think was involved, not the person, but why Kennedy was killed, what's your verdict on that?
Well, again, there's multiple reasons. John Kennedy made a lot of domestic enemies. He wouldn't invade Cuba, and he was going to pull us out of Vietnam, so that he got enemies at the Pentagon and the Joint Chiefs. Of course, after the Bay of Pigs fiasco, he made enemies of the CIA because he fired their top three guys, Allen Dulles, Cabell, and I forget the third guy right now. But he also made the statement, I'm going to break the CIA into 1,000 pieces. He made enemies of the mafia because Bobby was on a rampage. They deported Carlos Marcello, and the mafia felt that he betrayed them in the election and all that stuff. So he had them for enemies. He also had domestic enemies because Kennedy was the first president pushing actively civil rights in the South. So as you can see, there's a scenario here of a lot of potentials who could have done it, as well as Lyndon Johnson, because Lyndon Johnson at that time was neck deep in two big scandals, the Billy Solestis scandal and the Bobby Baker scandal, and there was rumors, strong indication that Kennedy was going to drop him from the ticket in '64, and Lyndon always wanted to be president, and the other person was J. Edgar Hoover, who hated the Kennedys. And people need to remember there were two conspiracies that took place: the actual conspiracy to kill the president, and then the conspiracy to cover it up afterwards.
All right, we're talking to Governor Jesse Ventura here on the Steve Malzberg Show, author of They Killed Our President. And in addition to that, 63 Reasons to Believe There Was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JFK. All right, let me ask you, you and I talked about this years ago. Prior to 2012, you left open the possibility, but then I think you went home to Mexico. Are you seriously considering running for president in 2016?
Well, I'm giving it consideration. I'm always serious about when I consider something. I'm not saying I will, but man, the pieces seem to fall in place, because I'll tell you right now what I'll run on. I will run on one single issue, and I believe I can win off it, and that is this. I would give the American people the opportunity to elect the first president since George Washington, if you can believe this, that doesn't belong to a political party. We have never had a president except for George Washington, and I believe in light of what you're watching today with the government shutdown and the anger, I mean, Congress has a 10% approval rating. How can you get any worse than that? And I believe I could win on that issue alone, that the people would take the chance, they'd gamble and join me in making history of electing our second president who doesn't belong to a political party.
So you'd run as
George Washington.
You'd run as an independent, and so you think you could beat, let's say, Hillary Clinton on the Democrat side?
Well, I don't run to lose, but again, I think that, if Hillary Clinton's running, I would pose the question, are we Great Britain? Because it just seems the only presidents we seem to get are Clintons and Bushes. And you're telling me that they're the only royal families in our country that can be allowed to lead the country? I think that type of thinking is nonsense. Our forefathers had in mind that we would be a citizen government, and that citizens from all walks of life would serve in our government. And then imagine this, when they're done serving, going back to what they used to do, which is what I do, which makes me not a politician but a statesman. All
right, now, so you'd have to give up your Mexican villa, I guess, and come back home. But I know it's very early, but off the top of your head, someone you would want to associate yourself with to make this even more of a serious attempt, who might you approach to help you as a VP or something like that?
Well, I would think in the political arena right now, there's only one person in the political arena, and that would be Senator Angus King from Maine, who's an independent. He was an independent governor from Maine when we were together as governors. In fact, it was kind of humorous. When we go to the National Governors Convention in D.C. on the second day, they always have the Republicans meet in this building, the Democrats meet in that building. Well, they didn't provide Governor King and I anywhere to meet as the independents, so we would walk down Constitution Avenue and sit on a park bench, and yet all the media followed us.
All right,
they didn't care about the Democrats and Republicans. They followed us. So Angus King would be very high on my list. Brilliant man, former independent governor of Maine, and now current senator, independent senator from Maine.
So it would be a Ventura King ticket. What do you think of Chris Christie?
He's a Democrat, I don't think, or a Republican. I don't think of him. I would never run with a Democrat or Republican. They are the problem. They are not the solution. The only way to save our country is to break up the two-party dictatorship that exists today. And a great way to start doing that, why do we have party names on an election ballot? And this could be done locally. Remove party names and just put the candidate's name. They put it there on purpose so that you don't even have to know who the candidates are. If you're conservative, you look for Republican. If you're liberal, you look for Democrat. Why do we put party names? Make them what they are, political action committees. They could still endorse a candidate, certainly, like the teachers union does, the fire union does. They could do endorsements, but let's get these two political gangs out of our government because they're not parties. Why do they call themselves a party? They're a gang. They're no different than the Crips and the Bloods. In fact, they're worse because you couldn't get the Crips and Bloods to do a government shutdown, which affects all of us, could you?
Well, let me. We're talking to Governor Jesse Ventura, author of "They Killed Our President: 63 Reasons to Believe There Was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JFK." Here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Actually, the government shutdown hasn't affected me, and I don't think it's affected most Americans. But you know what? One thing that when they play politics, when they close down the World War II memorial, when they close down the Amber Alert system, which after it became public knowledge, Obama put back up, but they leave open Michelle Obama's anti-fat website. This president is playing politics. Park Service rangers have been told to inflict as much pain on the public as possible by closing things down, some of which have never been closed down even in the middle of the night.
Well, let's not put the blame totally on the president here. Excuse me.
Well, who would you blame, sir?
The Republicans. Obamacare passed.
Well, they're not trying to defund Obamacare. They're trying to. No. They're trying to post. No, but they're the latest in the CR, and this was after like the first one. They just want to postpone the individual mandate, the way that that Obama arbitrarily postponed the employee mandate for a year. Obama's picking and choosing what parts of the law to enforce.
And the Republicans are picking and choosing what laws are enacted. It's already the law as of October 1st.
But you're missing the point. All they want to do is get.
I'm not missing. Oh, baloney! They want the thing gone.
But not in the. But that's not what they've sent over to the Senate, Governor.
It's just like abortion. They want to chisel away at it in piecemeal fashion. And the point is this: you're missing the big point. The big point is each one of these congressmen and senators get 4 choices of health care that they want, and yet they want to deny us one.
Well, who's going to deny you one? You could get any health care you want.
Pardon me, I don't get the choice of 4. I only get my health care via.
Oh, look, I'm not sticking up, but Obama's giving subsidies to the
union.
Obama's giving subsidies. This is another thing he did. He's giving subsidies to Congress and their congressional staffs to buy Obamacare. And the Republicans want to do away with that also.
Well, I guess we would just follow the Republicans then, right? They got our best interests in mind. You'll find that I despise both parties. Let's get rid of all of these parties in our government so we can take it back for the people, because these parties put their party first. They put their dirty bribery money second. They've created a system in our country that's based completely on the concept of bribery. In the private sector, you go to jail for bribery. In the public sector, it's status quo.
I got one more real quick, Governor. Should we know that it was SEAL Team 6, A, that got bin Laden, and B, that tried in Somalia yesterday? Don't we know too much?
Well, first of all, I would pose the question of, how are we allowed to do that, to send our military arbitrarily into countries to kill people?
Well, you were a SEAL, sir, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
And I'm asking, what difference does that make? The point I'm making is this. What if some other country deemed that we had a terrorist in our country adverse to them? Would we allow their military units to come in and kill somebody in our country? Whatever happened to trials now?
So you never went in, you never conducted special ops in a foreign nation as a SEAL?
Certainly I did, but and you're right, because we never declared Vietnam a war either, did we?
All right, but you did it then, and now you have a problem with it after the fact, it seems.
No, not after the fact. I was 19 years old then. I'm a lot smarter today.
All right. Hey, listen, Governor, I'm up against the break, but listen, good luck with the book. If you run for president, give us a call, and we'll speak to you soon, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on.
My pleasure. Governor Jesse Venturahd, they killed our president. About the assassination of JFK, 63 reasons to believe there was a conspiracy to assassinate JFK. Folks, you want to weigh in? 855-777-9660. I'm done with my antibiotics, but it ain't helping me. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.